Lightning Lane, the system that everybody loves and has no issues. Oh, I see that my check from Disney cleared, so let's keep going. Lightning Lane can save you hours in line, but some of the rides can sell out in a flash. That's what this video is about. What are the hardest to get lightning lanes? That's what I decided to figure out, and it's not always what you would think. Hi, I'm James from Guide to WDW, and I recently looked at the average sellout time of all 63 Lightning Lane rides at Disney World over a 12-month period on ThrillData.com. And the results surprised me. Space Mountain, Expedition Everest, Soarin', and some of the other rides that everyone tells you to get aren't included in this video. In this video, I'm actually sharing two different lists. First, the 10 hardest to get Genie Plus Lightning Lanes, and then ranking all 5 individual Lightning Lane rides by sellout time. Everything is broken down into chapter markers for your viewing convenience. This is my first video in a series all about maximizing Genie Plus and Lightning Lane, so be sure to get subscribed so you don't miss them. Now, before I get into the list, there's a few important things to know about the data. Everything is based off of average sellout time, which is the time of day that the ride runs out of Lightning Lane slots. With the theory being that more popular rides sell out earlier in the day than less popular rides. This mostly shakes out, but there are two attraction types that throw a wrench in the works: shows and character meet and greets, because these have limited operating hours and that skews their sellout time to be earlier in the day. I dealt with this in two different ways. I removed the shows that have a limited number of show times from the list, because they aren't as hard to get as the sellout times make them look. Like take the Festival of Fantasy Parade. Its average sellout time was 2:26 p.m., which would have easily put it in the top 10 for Genie Plus. However, the last showing of the parade is at 3 p.m., which makes it look like it's much harder to get than it actually is. This is pretty much the case for all the shows across all 4 parks. But here's the average sellout time for those shows that would have made the list in case you're curious. Also, shows aren't the best use of Lightning Lane anyway, but that's a story for my next video. Now, my list will include some character meet and greets. They do typically have shorter operating hours than the rides, but meet and greets can still have significant wait times, and the shorter operating hours put a bigger premium on getting these Lightning Lanes earlier in the day. So I'm including these because if any of these characters are important for you to meet, it's good to know to make them a priority. To give the best picture possible, I took data from a 12-month period. This will help even things out from seasonal events, crowd patterns, and any ride closures. Just remember that the sellout time that I show is an average from the entire year. On some days, it can sell out later, but on the busiest days of the year, some of these can sell out much sooner, like within minutes. Time to get to the good stuff, because the Genie Plus list starts with 2 of the biggest thrill rides in all of the parks with 2 of the longest lines. So it's not surprising that the Lightning Lanes are so high in demand. Number 10 is Rock 'n' Roller Coaster, which is arguably Disney World's most intense coaster, since it's the only one with inversions. The universal mind can't comprehend having only one coaster with a loop. This Lightning Lane had an average sellout time of 4:31 p.m. For number 9, you don't have to walk too far to take a drop into the Twilight Zone at Tower of Terror. One of the best rides of all time typically has Lightning Lane availability until 4:22. Number 8 has been one of the harder to get Lightning Lanes at Magic Kingdom since it got added to the roster in early 2023. But that's because Enchanted Tales with Belle doesn't run the entire day, usually closing by 7. So the average sellout time of 4:19 p.m. makes sense. Still, if you have a Beauty and the Beast fan in your family, it could be worth grabbing a Lightning Lane because it's a really fun show / meet and greet with a couple of amazing effects, including a great Lumiere animatronic. Let's go back to Hollywood Studios for the only Lightning Lane on this list that I don't recommend getting. That's number 7, the Olaf Meet and Greet, which also has a 4:19 p.m. sellout time. With an average wait of just 19 minutes, Lightning Lane isn't even really necessary to get your picture taken with this summer-loving snowman. If it's a really busy day and you have some die-hard Olaf fans in your family, sure, but there are much better uses of Lightning Lane at the studios. Next on this list is the earliest sellout at Magic Kingdom, but it's not Space Mountain or Peter Pan's Flight or Big Thunder. It's Meet Ariel at her grotto in Fantasyland, which has been way harder to get than any other attraction or meet and greet at Magic Kingdom, selling out at 2:16 p.m., which is a 2-hour jump from the last item in our list. Unlike Olaf, this is a great pickup for Genie Plus, especially for Little Mermaid fans, because last year it had the 9th longest wait at Magic Kingdom at an average of 37 minutes. Now there's only one meet and greet that has an even longer line and earlier sellout time, and weirdly, it's the only attraction from Animal Kingdom in the top 10, despite the fact that Animal Kingdom has much shorter operating hours than the other 3 theme parks. But on the other hand, it makes sense because this is the only place at Disney World right now where you can meet Mickey and Minnie at the same meet and greet. It's the very specifically named Meet Favorite Disney Pals at Adventurers Outpost, which ran out of Genie Plus slots at 1:15 p.m. on average. It's actually a great use of Genie Plus because meeting Mickey and Minnie had the 3rd longest wait at Animal Kingdom last year at 43 minutes. Okay, enough meet and greets. Let's get back to rides. Our top 4 is chock full of great and extremely popular rides, and there is another significant jump in sellout time. Coming in at number 4 is Frozen Ever After, with an average sellout time of 12:28 p.m. A lightning lane at Frozen can save you a lot of time. It has the 6th longest wait time at Disney World. The cold never bothered me anyway, but a 74-minute wait, that's a different story. Barely racing ahead at number 3 is another Epcot ride, Test Track, which sells out just 3 minutes earlier at 12:25 p.m. And it also has a really long wait time at 64 minutes, which is the 3rd longest in the park. So Lightning Lane is a good option for Frozen or Test Track, but there's another Epcot ride in the top 2, which makes for some really tough decisions if you get Genie Plus at Epcot, which is exactly what I'll be covering in my Epcot Lightning Lane guide, so stay tuned for that. Speaking of the top 2, they're actually both tied for first, selling out at the exact same minute, which is kinda crazy. Both of these should absolutely be your first priority Lightning Lane pick, depending on which park you're visiting. Because not only do they run out the fastest by quite a bit, but they are also both in the top 5 for longest wait times at Disney World. The first ride tied for number 1 features everyone's favorite rat known for his culinary prowess. Of course, I'm talking about Rizzo's Pizza Rizzo Adventure, an attraction that I just made up, but now desperately wished existed more than anything else in the entire world. Disney, there's still a chance to make dreams come true at D23 this year. The actual first number 1 is Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which typically ran out of Genie Plus availability at 11:17 a.m. It's one of Epcot's newest rides, and it has the longest standby line in the park. The other ride tied for number 1 is Slinky Dog Dash at Hollywood Studios, also selling out at 11:17 a.m. Now, I gave this ride a hard time in my list of the rides that I won't wait for at Disney World, but with an average wait of 96 minutes, I think I'm pretty well justified. But this ride is great with Lightning Lane, if you're able to get one. So those are the Genie Plus rides, but what about 5 of the biggest rides that aren't included in Genie Plus? The individual Lightning Lane rides. Let's see when these sell out. Let's start with number 5, which sells out significantly later than the other individual Lightning Lane rides on this list, probably because it's also significantly older than any of the other rides. That's Seven Dwarfs Mine Train at Magic Kingdom, which sells out at 4:09 p.m. My not-so-bold prediction is that this ride will join Genie Plus this summer when Tiana's Bayou Adventure opens, most likely with a virtual queue and individual Lightning Lane. Number 4 and number 3 are the 2 current virtual queue rides. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which usually sells out by 1:58 p.m., and number 3, Tron, which sells out by 1:30 p.m., meaning that on an average day, you'll have a chance to join either virtual queue opening before needing to put down some cash for Lightning Lane. However, if you want one of the coveted nighttime slots for Tron, be sure to buy that earlier. Number 2 is what I think is the best ride at Disney World, Rise of the Resistance, which sells out at 1:28 p.m. Considering the length of the experience and the length of the line, this is one individual Lightning Lane that I personally don't feel too bad paying for. By the way, that's about as excited as I can get about paying for Lightning Lane. Not feeling too bad about it. And number 1 is Avatar Flight of Passage, another incredible ride that usually sells out an entire hour earlier at 12:30 p.m. But remember, on the busiest days, any of these individual Lightning Lane rides can sell out within minutes of park opening or even earlier. Were you surprised with any of the attractions on this list? Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you have any questions about Genie Plus and Lightning Lane, as I'm working on several videos about them that are coming up in the next few weeks, including the worst Lightning Lanes you can get, whether Genie Plus is worth the money, and park-by-park Lightning Lane guides. I'm on a mission to make the most helpful and entertaining Disney World videos on YouTube, and your feedback is so valuable to help me know what to include in the future. So thank you so much for taking the time to let me know your questions and your thoughts. This has been James from Guide to WDW. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you real soon.